Mm-hmm. Lounge, 244. Bracket edition. Well, Hildebrand's there. Nathan Stacken is here as well. Other folks. Hopefully we get a weird guy coming in. Stacken, you were here last time for the weird guy, right?
Yeah, the Jehovah's Witness.
Very exciting. So we got that.
I would like someone, whoever comes in this time, I hope they discover or they want to discuss Napoleon's thoughts on invading Russia in winter.
We'll leave it up to Charlie to discuss the strategies involved. I filled out a bracket. Charlie is in the process. Stacken going to.
I'm done with mine now.
I have not filled out any bracket yet, but hopefully we'll get to one here sometime in the near future.
Stacken going to peruse his all the way down to 10:59 a.m. on Thursday morning. Brackets. Taking a peruse at the bracket here. Charlie looks like the East with Villanova as the 1 seed. Looks to be the easiest of the brackets for a Villanova team to get to the finals. We agree with this.
I would agree with that. I think the East looks like the weakest region. You could maybe convince me it's the South, but I think it's probably the East. So if you're Villanova, who I guess 2 years ago they won the title, but other than that year has been kind of known for going out early, you would probably want to be in this kind of region where you look and say, oh yeah, we can win some of these games.
Stacken, you look at the East, you have Villanova as a 1. They're a heavy favorite because you have shit like Purdue as a 2 seed and Texas Tech as a 3 seed. The weakest of the 2s and the 3s reside in this region. I like Wichita State to come out of this region. What say you?
Let me pull up the bracket here because we're undergoing some technical difficulties.
You got the 8-9s I really like. You got Virginia Tech and Alabama. That should be a lot of points. You got Seton Hall, North Carolina State. That can be some points. So, again,
West Virginia, Murray State, West Virginia, also known at times for going out early tournament style.
Yep.
Shit in the bed. They are. Look at some of those 12-5s. Davidson, Kentucky, Murray State, West Virginia, New Mexico State, Clemson. Give me New Mexico State to go to the Sweet 16. And SDSU, South Dakota State is a 12 seed. Clemson and Auburn were the 2 teams I was looking at to have maybe SDSU play. I would have picked them against those 2 teams since I don't like any of those 2. So I have New Mexico State beating Clemson in the first round, then Auburn in the second round. So that is my one big Cinderella. Or if you want, I also have Arkansas reaching the Elite 8 against Wichita State.
Really?
Because, Charlie, as I said, I'll never pick Nova again. And let's start with the up there stacking.
Yeah, we're slowly but surely.
Any more thoughts here, Charlie, on the East? I've got Arkansas and Wichita State. What say you?
That's your Elite 8?
Yeah, let's do it.
And you've got which? Are we doing Final Four now? Or
wait, sure, whoever's coming out of the East.
Okay, and you said you've got Wichita State out of the East?
Yep.
I have Wichita State in the Elite 8, beating Villanova in the Sweet 16. And this may come back to bite me, and by may I mean it probably will. I've got Purdue beating Wichita State in the Elite 8. Right. And part of it was because I kept looking at all these East teams. And it's like, all right, I got all these, don't pick this team, don't pick this team, don't pick this team. It's like, well, I'm not going to have Texas Tech coming out. So after that, it's like, well, I got to pick somebody. I thought about Wichita State, but went with Purdue. Probably dumb.
I like certainly Alabama, I think, has a good chance to take down Villanova because Colin Sexton is absolutely phenomenal.
Well, your Vautech squad. Your Vautech squad. Look at them go.
I don't think they're beating Alabama. Wichita State's very intriguing to me, but they have, I thought, underplayed. They just haven't played as well as you would have expected them to this year.
They are in a much tougher conference this year.
They are.
That's what I was going to bring up. You got to like that their conference, at least compared to recent years, they're at least getting more battle-tested than in the MVC.
I would say in my main bracket, because I will fill out multiple brackets for the bracket challenge.
Communist.
I know. watch out for Florida potentially, but I like Villanova over Texas Tech in the Elite Eight.
Texas, goddamn Tech.
Yeah. Yep.
Boy.
They score a lot of points. I am going to take them over Purdue, I believe. And if I pick one upset here, I'm tempted to pick St. Bonaventure over Florida. I believe is that the St. Bonaventure Syracuse.
I'm taking the Bonnies to the so this bracket's all fucked up for me. I'm taking the 11 seed Bonnies against the 7 Arkansas in the Sweet 16.
Okay.
I've got Wichita and Villanova at the top. So yeah, I like St. Bonaventure to beat UCLA, to beat Florida, to beat Texas Tech. I think the games are in Dallas.
Yep.
I think what's it been every year but one? There's been one of these 2 play-in game winners that's gone on to the Sweet 16, something like that.
Yep. I guess the biggest upset that I would see on this bracket would be Murray State over West Virginia, 12-5. West Virginia, to me, just has not been very impressive down the stretch. They go into too many times where lapses in offense. They don't, periods where they just don't score. And I don't think their defense has been quite as effective as it has been in previous years. So I would say, Wichita State will make it to the Sweet 16 with relative ease. I will take Arkansas over Butler, and I think Purdue narrowly will get over Arkansas or get past Arkansas. But for the most part, I have relative chalk leading up to the Sweet 16, but I am going to hesitantly pick Villanova to make it to the Final Four.
So we have Villanova, Purdue, and Wichita State.
I like it. 3 different answers. I hope it's that way for all 4 regions.
Could be. We go to the Midwest right now. Charlie, this is your region. These top 3 seeds, pretty good. You have a top seed.
PG. That's pretty good. Curb your enthusiasm style.
Kansas, Duke, and Michigan State. Your top 3 seeds. Stacking, Kansas has had kind of a down year, or they were having a down year. They've lost 3 or 4 times at home. And here they are again, winning the conference. Maybe a weaker than normal Big 12, I suppose.
Yep.
If you want to say that.
So this is the Kansas team that no doubt then will make it to the Final Four and shock us all.
I mean, this is not one of the stronger Kansas teams. My Cinderella out of this would be New Mexico State going to the Sweet 16 because of that Clemson-Auburn back-to-back. That's very tempting. Right there.
I also have that exact same thing of New Mexico State beating Clemson and Auburn and playing Kansas in the Sweet 16.
I love Auburn. I love Clemson, more so football, but not great this year. What you have TCU playing the play-in winner. What do we got here? Oklahoma. Who was it? Arizona State and who?
Syracuse,
Arizona State. I think the Qs. Give me the Qs to win 2. I like the Qs to knock off TCU. But yeah, I have the top 3 seeds advancing, plus New Mexico State. Stacking, I have Duke over Kansas in this region.
Well, I sure as hell am not going to pick Kansas, so it's really going to come down to the winner of Duke and Michigan State.
You like Michigan State?
I do. I think when they are playing at the height of their game, that they are the best, arguably the best team in the country. I believe these 2 teams played in like the big tournament or whatever at the beginning of the season. Duke won that game, if I recall. I will hesitantly take Duke over Michigan State in that game and Duke over Kansas in that one. I agree with you on New Mexico State. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to get by Auburn, but I do like them to take down Clemson. I would also like to point out that I think South Dakota State is a better 12 seed than New Mexico State, and I think they should have been in this region to play Clemson. But as it is, I think I agree with you. I think Rhode Island's going to get by Oklahoma, who I don't even know should have gotten into the tournament, let alone be a 10 seed. But
I am tempted as all hell to pick
go
Rhode Island.
Oklahoma.
No, to go with Rhode Island.
Okay.
I mean, they're one of my teams. Not a good draw for them.
No, well, don't lose 4 or 5 to end the year, or 3 of 5. I mean, just don't do that, and you're going to get a much better.
I had him as I had him as as a 4 seed, I think it was more realistic to put them as a 7.
Mhm.
But I mean, Rhode Island's got as good of a resume as any other team. So their RPI is, I think, 13th. So
yeah, 13 RPI is pretty good.
Pretty good. We put them in.
Really,
put them in there.
Really powerful igloos. Is that what RPI stands for?
Yes.
Okay.
Charlie, we got Kansas and Duke. We got a couple of Dukes here. What say you?
I've got some similarity to, I think, to yours, Krenz, where I've got the top 3 seeds in New Mexico State in the Sweet 16. I've got this sort of play. If anyone remembers the year Syracuse won with Carmelo Anthony, I think Syracuse was a 3 seed as opposed to a 1 seed, but that they were basically playing in New York all the way through the Final Four. Kansas is playing in Wichita and then in Omaha in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. So I've got Kansas over New Mexico State, Michigan State over Duke, and then I've got Kansas beating Michigan State in the Elite 8 to go to the Final Four. So I did not have that. I will not say exactly what it was on the air. I had a Final Four that I looked at and kind of threw up in my mouth a little bit and made some changes. This was one of the brackets I made a change in.
Staying here, Rhode Island, I guess, had a 19 RPI. They finished with a strength of schedule of 48. So I guess that's a 7 seed. They were 2-6 in the quadrant 1, so that's not great. What Oklahoma's in this region? Are they stacking? What did you? I had them in as. I guess I had them in as a 10 seed as well, so I guess I'm fine with where they ended up.
I would have had them in as a play-in game.
Okay, as a play-in game. So you still
and that would be at the most. I think honestly, I don't have as big a problem with them getting in based on their wins early on, and even by the committee's logic, if you put Oklahoma in, you need to put Arizona State in because of the wins over Xavier and those earlier in the year. Yes, in Kansas. So I think if you put Oklahoma in, I'm fine with Arizona State in. I don't think Syracuse should have been in, though, at all. You can make an argument that UCLA shouldn't be in. So I guess overall I would put Oklahoma in that first 4 in, not as a 10 seed.
Charlie, you have any?
Oklahoma and Arizona State both out. I want teams that are playing at least relatively well at this point of the year, not limping in at the end. And I think Oklahoma, I think I read, has not won a game outside of Norman in 2018.
Correct.
It seems to not bode well. Now, granted, every year there's a team that everyone says shouldn't get in that magically makes the Elite 8, and I suppose that could be Oklahoma this year because that's just how it ends up working. But and I don't have an answer on who it should be that would take their place necessarily, but Oklahoma's just looked so bad over the last month, and I fully, let's see, yeah, they play I don't know. I think Rhode Island's going to win by 12 and just sort of Oklahoma really ends the season on a whimper then.
Just to expand on my point, because I agree with Charlie that I wouldn't have Oklahoma in, but with the committee putting Oklahoma in, I'm fine with them having Arizona State in. But I guess when I'm looking at the overall scheme of things, I would not have put either of those teams in.
According to Schottenkirk, SDSU, or according to Schottenkirk, every the better seed is the favorite in every game, which apparently has never happened.
That's terrible.
So we'll see. Maybe that changes. SDSU, what do you think? Stacking point spread.
I will say Ohio State's a 6-point favorite.
Charlie?
4.5.
7.5 at the moment.
Ooh,
7.5 points.
I think SDSU will cover, if not outright win.
Oh shit. Teams. Okay, so we're done with that half of the deal. Teams. I usually don't have much of a problem. Maybe a team here or a team there. I had some issues this year, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I had St. Mary's in the play-in game. I did not have Arizona State in. I think that's pretty embarrassing. Middle Tennessee, I didn't expect them in. I would have put Middle Tennessee in.
Agreed.
What team did I not have in there? Then
Marquette, Oklahoma State.
None of those teams were in consideration. Dick Vitale's big thing was Oklahoma State should be in. If Oklahoma's in, Oklahoma State should be in. Oklahoma State's RPI stacking is 88. USD's is 91. So, yeah, that's not even worth mentioning. No. Arizona State's the worst team in this field. I feel that RPI was 66. Their strength of schedule was 86. They really were not even under consideration for me to put him in. Apparently, Notre Dame was the last team left out.
Yeah.
Their RPI was 70, and if Davidson doesn't win, they would have gotten in. Strength of schedule of 50. They were 2-9 against Quadrant 1 teams. Despite injuries, I don't know why you would consider Arizona State and Notre Dame over St. Mary's or Middle Tennessee. It's just apparently the wins that they have. So I guess I had two big ones there.
Yeah, I think when you overall,
I had USC in as well. I had USC in.
Yeah, didn't USC finish second in the Pac-12, and they did not get in while like 5 other Pac-12 teams did?
Well, Pac-12 got 2 teams. USC, or they got the UCLA and
3. Arizona State.
3 bid league. There's not much difference between UCLA and Southern Cal. So I'm not sure how one gets in with the other doesn't. They're virtually identical, their resumes. UCLA beat them twice. I'm not sure how you put UCLA in, but you don't Southern Cal. That's amazing to me. Not sure.
I don't know. Again, it seems like the committee each year comes up with some different kind of a formula for how they want to do it. Like this year now, they're heavy on the Quadrant 1, Quadrant 2, Quadrant 3, Quadrant 4. I would hope that this is a system that they will keep in place because it affects how teams are going to schedule, and it's overall. I get that you're doing the whole overall body of work, which is how Oklahoma is in. And I guess from Notre Dame's standpoint, they lost too many games, and you're not going to factor, they played much better with Bonzie Colson. It sucks that they didn't get in, but I don't know. I guess that's just a fact of life, that their star player got injured. They didn't pick up as many wins as they could. But, I guess I understand the point of if Notre Dame is out, Oklahoma should be out, or Arizona State.
I don't know. I don't really like the quadrant system a whole lot. I understand the reasoning behind it, and I think there's elements of it that are okay. But I don't really care for it because if you beat a top 25 team at home, a top 50 team at a neutral site, or a top 75 team on the road,
essentially,
is a quad 1 win. So essentially, let's see, it's saying that Gonzaga is 23rd in RPI, so beating Gonzaga at home is the same as beating Rider, who's 71 in RPI on the road. And it's just I don't even remotely buy that. I don't care where you play Rider. You can have them have 99% of the home crowd and the ref's favor. I still think it would be a bigger idea to beat Gonzaga at home than Rider on the road.
You need to shorten that up a little bit. 75 is way too high. Because once you get past 50, then it should be 50. Because once you get past 50, that's kind of the cutoff of.
Yeah, I would say top 25 home, top 40 neutral, and top 50 away, something like that.
75 is way too high. So apparently, Kansas State was my first team out. They were in, and they're like an 8 or 9 seed. So I don't think Kansas State should be in. I don't think Arizona State should be in. There was one more. What else was it?
UCLA.
They should be in, yes. There's
Syracuse?
Nope, I had them in. There's one more that I was like, no. Teams that I thought Middle Tennessee should have been in. I thought St. Mary should be in, and I thought USC should be in. So those are my 3 that should be in, and other teams that I thought should be out. So I had three of them. I didn't think Middle Tennessee would be in. St. Mary's didn't play anybody. USC was the one that was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I thought they were the second best team in that conference.
Well, according to the regular season, they were the second best team in the conference.
And I don't know how UCLA gets in, but USC doesn't when they have almost exact same seasons. So that is that. Any other seeding that you had problems with?
Oh, let's just take a look here.
Like Michigan State's strength of schedule is 100. That is terrible. They beat Carolina. They beat some other team. Besides that, they didn't beat anybody. So weren't they a 4 seed in that bracket a month ago, or whatever they were? Michigan State.
Yeah,
they ended up being a 3 seed. I had them as a 5. I figured they'd be a 3 or a 4, because their strength of schedule is so poor, and the Big Ten was pretty bad this year. Tennessee, I had Tennessee as a 2 over Purdue.
Like, does Missouri deserve an 8 seed? Or I would say probably not.
I had them as a 10.
Yep.
Creighton's a 10. Oklahoma is a 10. Nothing seed-wise really sticks out.
No,
I'd say Bonaventure well in the tournament. They were playing this play-in game. I think that's ridiculous.
So would you have had Middle Tennessee State in?
Yeah, I had them easily. I had them as a 10 seed.
Okay.
These are non-conference. I think their non-conference was very good. So, sucks for them, Middle Tennessee. And Lenardi had Syracuse as his 7th team out. I had them.
I think the difference this year, though, than in previous years. I think the difference this year than in previous years, and I sometimes feel like we say this every year, but the bubble was so wide open this year that you had 10 or 12 teams vying for 6 spots essentially, and then with each additional loss or like upset win, the likes of Georgia, or not Georgia State, but like Marshall and Davidson, those teams getting those bids, it just took away from some of these other schools. So I would say it seems like it's odd this year, but I think that the bubble was so wide open this year that we were bound to have some teams that were put in that others didn't.
Like Baylor,
for teams like Davidson to win their conference tournament.
Yeah.
And Southern Mississippi to win their conference.
Baylor was at 17 and 14, and they were among the first 2 or 3 out. I mean, that's terrible that they're in the mix.
But look at their wins. I mean, their wins are arguably the same as Syracuse or
Baylor
or Oklahoma.
Baylor.
Yeah. Just
like
Syracuse.
All right, let's take a peek here. Like Baylor, their RPI is 66.
If Syracuse hadn't beaten Clemson, they're not in the tournament.
Like Syracuse, they're just solid around the board. Like they don't have those great wins, but Syracuse RPI of 39. strength of schedule of 15. They're 20-13. For once, their non-conference was actually good. Non-conference strength of schedule was 13th toughest. Like Baylor, they beat Kansas. That's
they went 8-10 in conference.
Like Baylor, like I'm just confused at how. What this tells me is that it's better to go 19-14 in a big conference rather than like 28-5 or 23-6 in a weak conference, is what it tells me. So, moving on. We go up top left to the South region with Virginia, seeing where Virginia is going to shit the bed. Stacking, this tournament for me is all Virginia because they're the one team that this is them.
They put up or shut up.
Do something. This is the team. Everybody's I saw a tweet yesterday. People are talking about how there's not a dominant team out there, but here there's Virginia, an ACC team that goes 20-1, and people are like, there's no dominant team out there. Well, there's a reason why people don't believe in Virginia, because they always shit the bed.
Yep. Well, I can't wait. You put arguably the two best defensive teams in the same region here. So I'm going to say the first one to 50 should UVA and Cincinnati meet up. First one to 50 wins. Cincinnati
first one to 19 wins.
Okay. Cincinnati did not play great defense today against Houston, but Houston's pretty good. That Rod Gary with the stupid man bun, he's pretty remarkable for Houston. So I don't know. Looking at this here, I feel like it's pretty wide, like a pretty easy road for UVA. I would say that the Kentucky-Arizona game arguably is going to be the best second round matchup. But I guess that's
good luck. I got Kentucky winning that one, but good fucking luck, Virginia. Good fucking luck.
Kentucky and Arizona in a game that 4 years from now will never have been played because it'll be wiped from the record books for both teams.
Never happened.
Do you like your Nevada squad over Cincinnati?
No. It's a shame. It's a shame that two of my guys right up against each other. That sucks.
I believe that this region.
That kid is loud. I tell you what, man. That kid, he's all about it.
Whose kid is that?
Whose kid is that?
Yeah, it can't be mine. I'm not even near the kid.
Can you hear it?
I heard it.
That's got to be Charlie's kid.
Charlie, you had a kid.
No.
Oh,
neighbor outside.
Who is that?
Neighbor outside.
Oh, goddamn kids.
I guess looking at this here, I
like this region.
I like Loyola Chicago to make it to the Sweet 16. I think I have them for sure beating Miami. Tennessee, they played Kentucky really tough today, but there's something about them that I'm not 100% sure on that I could fully trust.
Got an RPI of 8, BPI of 15.
Well, that's true. It is hard to beat, but Loyola is pretty balanced. I've watched a couple of their games this year. They can shoot the three ball really well. So I like Loyola, I think, to get to the Sweet 16. Overall, I will say I can't quite pull the trigger on Kentucky taking down Virginia.
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
But I think, Cincinnati over Virginia.
He likes the natty.
I do. I think so. I think that's a dangerous move, but I will take Cincinnati, I think.
Charlie, I've got the natty over Calipari squad. That's what I've got.
I originally had Cincinnati. I was not going to say my previous teams I had making the Final Four. Did not like that one at first and changed it. I think, let's see. I have fairly chalky. I've got Kentucky beating Virginia in the Sweet 16.
We all have Chicago.
I do. I've got Chicago winning the first round over Miami. I do have Tennessee beating Loyola Chicago in the second round. I've got Tennessee beating Cincinnati in the Sweet 16. So I've got an SEC championship game rematch. I got Tennessee going to the Final Four.
Tennessee doing it. Tennessee over Kentucky.
Football bad, basketball good.
Can I just point out how SDSU goes to they've gone to one really decent spot in their 5 years. They had to go to Salt Lake last year. Where'd they have to go? Spokane 2 years ago? That's not great. They go to Boise this year, Albuquerque the first year. The only decent spot they've been able to go to was, Auburn Hills.
Detroit is the decent
Detroit's
spot.
the good one. I think Detroit sounds like the worst out of those five.
I guess from what I'm saying is, that, there's Detroit. There's going to be some good teams here. It seems like you'll throw these regions that no one gives a shit about, or these teams that no one gives a shit about in some of these regions. Albuquerque, they have Baylor and whoever the hell else was in that
Wasn't
area.
Baylor like a 3 seed that year?
Yeah, they were a 3, but it just seems like they're not getting the Duke or North Carolina treatments or like.
Well, I mean, Charlotte,
right? But that's what I'm saying. So it just. Why are they playing this in fucking Boise? Give me Nashville.
The West sucks.
I wanted to go to Nashville.
That would have been nice. Nashville's a nice little town. So I've got the Natty. Stacken's got the Natty. Charlie's got Kentucky.
No, Tennessee.
Or Tennessee.
Tennessee beating Kentucky in the Elite Eight.
The West region.
Oh, wait, real quick. In the Midwest, I had Kansas. What did you guys have?
Duke,
yeah.
Okay. So the first one, we were all different. The next two, you two have agreed, and mine has been different.
I considered taking Michigan State to be a contrarian, but
I did have Michigan State and then went, nah, I don't like this.
I don't like them either. This West region I like a lot because Xavier I like, Carolina I like, and Michigan I like. If Michigan was a 3 seed in any other region, I would have picked them to go to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier was the only preseason pick I'm not sticking with. Carolina's my team. They won it last year. They've been in the Final Four 3-4 years in a row. They've been in the championship 2 years in a row. They've been playing really well lately.
Mm-hmm.
I have Ohio State as a 5, and then I've got the top 3 moving on. Michigan, Carolina, I think will be a great game. Seems like Carolina and Providence play every goddamn year in the tournament. I like Carolina over Xavier to reach the Final Four.
Charlie, you want to take it first?
I can go first. I have some significantly different stuff than Krenz, which is good because it makes things more interesting. I do have South Dakota State beating Ohio State and then turning around and losing to Gonzaga. I've got San Diego State beating Houston, but then losing to Michigan. Providence beating A&M, also beating North Carolina. I got Providence going to the Sweet 16. So I've got Xavier over Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, Michigan over Providence, and then in the battle between Xavier and Michigan, I have the Wolverines going to the Final Four.
Michigan got a bad draw. I would have picked them, but goddamn Michigan.
In my draw, I got Michigan playing Montana, San Diego State, Providence, and then Xavier in the Elite Eight.
Good draw for them. That's a winnable deal for them.
I don't know. North Carolina's good. I could see North Carolina making the Elite Eight or the Final Four. Mm-hmm. I could also see this being a year where they go out early like I picked, where I think they're certainly like they're talented, but they're not like as physically impressive as I've looked at other times in recent years, where they don't have like 2 or 3 guys that you're just like, oh shit, this guy is the most talented player in this whole little bracket. Not the whole region, but in this little part of it. Yeah, this section. And I don't know. Like Luke May's good, but I don't know. So yeah, I got the Wolverines.
SDSU doesn't even get to play like in the late slot in Boise. What
When are they playing here?
is-
When are we playing this game?
It's either like the first game of the day in Boise or the second. So 4 Eastern. 4 Eastern. It's the second game.
3 o'clock?
3
Boom,
o'clock.
I gotta
Yep.
watch the whole thing. It's before work. Works great for me.
So
3 on Thursday?
Yep. Gonzaga UNC Greensboro is at 1:30, 12:30 Central Time, Cornfields, and then 3 o'clock is I mean, I guess wouldn't you rather be
What
the first
channel?
game?
No channel? No
Oh, let's see. I don't know if this provided. No, it did not say a channel. If I had to venture a guess, though, I would say
True TV.
No, I don't think it's going to be true. I think it's going to be on TBS. But I don't have it.
Yeah, why is this the only game that has? This is the only game I see here that has an actual time.
I don't know. Watch
You go to
ESPN, man.
ESPN and the scores. This is the only game that has a time. Why is this? Huh.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm clicking it and looking and seeing.
Unless it's because Murray State, West Virginia, 3 o'clock on Friday. Got Xavier as a 1 seed, 6 o'clock on Sunday. Got Kansas State, Creighton, 6 o'clock Sunday.
On mine, everything on Thursday is TBD except South Dakota State, Ohio State at 3 o'clock.
A lot of Friday games have been announced. Providence A&M's an early game Friday. Virginia's a late game at 8 o'clock.
It looks like Rhode Island, Oklahoma is the first game of the tournament.
That's a good little game there. That's a good little start. That could be good. Carolina afternoon Friday. Looks like Florida State, Missouri is the last game. Florida State, Missouri should be fine.
On Friday?
Yeah.
Sweet. Hot
It's a
damn.
9 o'clock start from Nashville. So good luck with that. Like Rhode Island and that's a good one to start it off. I approve of that. So
I just want to play on a Friday for once.
You know what? Winning, you can play on a Saturday. That's even better.
And a Monday. You can play on a Monday too, stacking.
That's fair. That's fair.
So what Charlie's got Michigan, I've got Carolina. What say you?
You know, I really want to pick SDSU, and I think I'll pick them in at least two of my 4 brackets.
2 of my 9.
Only four. I like Missouri over Florida State very easily, especially with Porter back. Xavier's going to get by both of them, though. I'll take Gonzaga over that. I will say I'm hesitant in taking Gonzaga over or to the Sweet 16 because I do think that SDSU, this is their best chance to get a Sweet 16 team there, especially if David Jenkins gets going early. We saw what he did in the Summit League tournament. He kind of changes the whole complexion of how you defend this team. I mentioned that Kentucky, Arizona would be the best game in the second round. I think the second best game of the round, or the second best game in the second round, is going to be Houston, Michigan.
They tried to make an appearance. I had to kick them out again. Jesus Christ, I had to kick them out again. You see that?
I saw that.
God damn it. You're out of here.
It's funny that you say Jesus Christ when he's coming to promote
Jesus
Jehovah's
Christ.
Witness.
Get bent, buddy. Get bent. Son of a bitch.
So
Son of a bitch.
Back to this here. I think I'm going to take Michigan here. The one thing that makes me hesitant on Michigan is they're playing so well right now, but the fact that the Big Ten tournament was last week, how is that layover going to affect the Michigan States, even the Purdue's? Normally their tournament ends today, and the fact that they played a week ago, I'm a little hesitant in thinking that Michigan can go all the way, but I will take Michigan over Houston. I like Providence over A&M, UNC over Lipscomb. I like Michigan to take down UNC. And so I have a Xavier Michigan Elite 8, and I will take our Xavier squad, though I am a little hesitant on them.
So we got different stuff in the West, too, for all 3 of us. I like that.
So my Final Four. Sons of a guns. Where'd it go? I've got Carolina on the one side beating, who was it?
What do we have here?
Cincinnati,
Carolina,
Kentucky.
Yep. I've got Carolina beating Cincinnati on the left. I've got Duke beating Wichita State on the right. I've got a Carolina
Duke title. I like it.
I like Carolina to win back-to-back. Charlie.
I have a complete different Final Four than Krenz. On the left, I've got Tennessee and Michigan. I've got the Wolverines winning it. On the right, I've got Kansas and Purdue. I have Kansas winning it. And everything negative I've said about Kansas, I still agree with and think it's true. But I do have Kansas winning the whole tournament this year.
Kansas beating Michigan.
Beating Michigan.
Second.
All right, so let's pull this little sucker up here.
Xavier.
I will take Xavier. Who do I have them playing?
Cincinnati, maybe?
Oh God! Oh my God!
Heavens, second.
That would be a tremendous Final Four. The town of Cincinnati would go absolutely berserk.
There's also a potential for Xavier Ohio State Sweet 16.
And Ohio State never likes to play Xavier, so that's what makes that all the more fun. I will take Xavier, and let's pull this up here. And then who's the other one I have? Duke against the Villanova.
Oh,
I will. I will take. I will take Duke over Villanova, and I will take Duke over Xavier.
So both of you have Duke playing in the national title game.
Yeah, I don't feel great about that, but do I ever feel great about anything?
You don't feel great about a goddamn.
There have been a couple times I felt great. Usually when I feel great, that's when it's like, oh, two of my Final Four teams lost in the first round. Like a couple years ago, I felt pretty good about Michigan State winning the whole thing, and they lost in the first round to whoever that was.
Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, that's right.
If we could look through some of these matchups here, what's the most likely 15 seed to take down a 2?
Ooh, I like that question. Let's see.
Schottenkirk's Final Four is Virginia. Well, let's see. It'd be Duke and Nova on the one side. He likes Nova to win the whole thing.
I like that. I really do. I'm very.
I don't. Michigan and Virginia on the other side. I assume he's got Virginia beating Michigan. So stacking. If it's Virginia, mark this down, please.
Yep.
If it's Virginia Nova, I won't be watching that. I can guarantee that.
Okay.
Also, Krenz, I think last year, or well, roughly around this time, about a week or 2 weeks into the bracket, but before we had the Final Four, I think you mentioned something about it was like if I pick Arizona or Villanova, like punch me in the wiener or something like that. And I think it's worth saying that both of us, I mean, we picked them to win like at least one game, but neither of us have them going very far for that exact reason.
Very, very easy to pick Villanova to get out of their side because I don't believe it's very difficult.
I might never pick Arizona to go to a Final Four ever again for the rest of my life. I think for like 4 out of 5 years, I had them in the Final Four, like 2 of them winning the whole thing. I'm just sick of it. Sick of those jerks.
I agree that it's probably not wise to take Villanova because they constantly disappoint. But then again, they did win a national championship, just the other year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Yeah. And then they back it up with what, a round of second round loss last year. So good.
Yeah, to Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. Fuck
you, Wisconsin. Anyway.
So what you said, 2 and 15 seeds.
Yeah. I did, like if you were just to go like based on, we'll just go down to I mean, the 10. We'll go down to the 10-7s. Like, what's the most likely 10 seed to take down? So if you're looking at the 15s here, Georgia State against Cincinnati, Lipscomb against North Carolina, Iona against Duke, and Cal State Fullerton against Purdue.
I would say Purdue and Duke. I mean, I don't like either of those teams all that much, despite Duke to reach the goddamn final.
Didn't Iona win like a 15-2 seed game, or am I getting mixed up with someone else?
Like Duke, I think Duke and Purdue can lose at any time.
Agreed.
I think those would be the two.
I would say I would take Georgia State. Charlie?
Research department here with the Iona Gales. They have only won one game in the NCAA tournament, and it was in 1980, so no. I'm getting that mixed up. Well, you know what? I'm still picking Iona over Duke. Why not?
So what double-digit seed can reach the Final Four?
That's an even better question.
Putting $10. You think?
Well, based off mine, it's probably Providence, because I've got Providence going to the Sweet 16. So, or New Mexico State. Those are the only two double-digit seeds I have making the second weekend, or the Sweet 16. I mean,
I would say either Loyola or New Mexico State.
Okay, hold. I'm not saying this is likely, but if we're talking like deep upsets, how likely do we think it is that Stone Cold Stephen F. Austin can beat Texas Tech? Because if they beat Texas Tech, then it starts being like, oh, well, you're talking about Florida or I don't know who those two.
St. Bonaventure and UCLA for Florida.
And I think they could beat either of those two. And then it's like, well, I mean, then you're talking Arkansas, Butler, or Purdue. Like, Purdue's good, but I don't think any of us would be stunned if Purdue crapped their pants again, like they have recently. And then you're looking at, clearly they're almost certainly not going to go that far. But you start looking at like my bracket, and it's like, oh, could Wichita State or Villanova crap their pants? It's like, well, we've also seen them do that too.
Yep.
So if we're talking deep seeded, super unlikely run, Stone Cold Stephen F. Austin's my pick, who's going to lose by 17 to Texas Tech in the first round.
This, to me, does not seem like a Stephen F. Austin team that is capable of making that run. Now, anything, again, can happen in the tournament, but just based on the Stephen F. Austin this year versus years past, they just, to me, don't have that one star, I think, that could take over a game.
I think the bottom half of the East is garbage. Purdue, Texas Tech, Florida. I don't like any of them.
That was part of my reason with Stephen F. Austin as being one of them.
That is a poop little region there. Bottom half of the South. I don't know. It's a lot of intriguing matchups. So I'm very much looking forward to the tournament. Any final thoughts on the tournament this year?
I mean, I think I had said last week that this has got the potential to have the most upsets that we've seen in quite a few years. And I think that does still hold some truth to it. But based off of I guess the teams that lost in their conference tournaments, the Vermonts, the Louisianas of the world, I don't know if we're going to see quite as many upsets this year. Like, I mean, if you're looking at the 12-5 matchups, of course, we think South Dakota State has a chance to take down Ohio State, but I don't really think Davidson's going to take down Kentucky.
Yeah. Murray State, West Virginia.
I think Murray State's got a great chance to do that.
New Mexico State, Clemson. I mean, all of these are like, I would say, yeah.
But as you move on,
I have 3 of the 12 seeds winning. The only 5 seed I have winning is Kentucky.
Very good. Very good. Any 4-13s, because that's been one that's come up a lot lately, as have 11-6s.
4-13s. I mean, Arizona and Buffalo. Marshall, Wichita State, no.
I feel like Charleston over Auburn would maybe be the most likely.
Yeah.
I would agree with Buffalo over or I would say Buffalo, Arizona, as you mentioned, Chris.
I could see that one also. I think Wichita State or Gonzaga losing are less likely.
All right. You can only watch 2 games the first 2 days.
Are we not including South Dakota State since we all went to school there?
I'll give you that one. You can watch that for free.
Okay.
Sweet.
I will watch Rhode Island and Oklahoma. Is what I would want to watch. And maybe New Mexico State and Clemson for the upset. Those might be my 2. Virginia with honorable mention to Va Tech and Alabama. That's what I got.
I'm going to go
all the 1 seeds. I want to watch all the 1 seeds.
I'm going Clemson, New Mexico State, and I'm going Murray State, West Virginia. 2 12 games.
I like all of those games, so I will go slightly different with a team that we did just mention. Stephen F. Austin against Texas Tech. I want to see if Texas Tech can really score all of these points, all the points. And then throw a little dandy in there. I will say Texas A&M and Providence with an honorable mention to Missouri, Florida State, because I do want to see if Porter Jr. He struggled in the first game in the SEC tournament in the lone game for Missouri. I want to see just how good he is and if this is I think Missouri will take down Florida State.
You know what would solve this problem? Yes, Charlie.
I was going to say odds that Nagy's Wright State squad could upset Tennessee in the first round.
Possible. Nagy. Like with all of these, I could say, yep, possible. You never know. You never
Garnett.
You never know.
Is that more likely, or both South Dakota State and San Diego State playing in the Elite Eight to go to the Final Four?
Would that not be great?
God, what a mess that would be. Just the implosion of time is what that would be. Jesus Christ. That'd be fun.
Be like dividing by 0 on a calculator and having it explode.
What is going on?
I would have loved it if if all 3 of those teams could have been in the same bracket, that would have been tremendous.
It's very good. Charlie, what do you think of the selection show? They did some different stuff.
I thought it was pretty poor. It kind of seems like it's gotten worse each year for like the last 3 years. I understand why they didn't show the bracket right away. It's solely because they want to have more commercial breaks to make more money. But like the going through and announcing the teams in first seems dumb, especially the automatic ones, because we already know they're in regardless. If it would have been only the at-large, I still would have thought it would have been dumb, but it would have been like, well, okay, I kind of get it. Or just saying, here's all the teams in alphabetical order first. But breaking those up seemed dumb. I know that Krins didn't like the fans in attendance, and I kind of agree with that. That seemed,
North Carolina's
that seemed dumb. Who's the
Ernie Johnson?
No.
You had Greg Gumbel, Kenny the Jet Smith, Charles Barkley, Clark Kellogg, and Seth Davis.
I think he was Ernie Johnson, the bald white dude that does the NBA.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, when he was like, hey, you guys like Pizza Hut, right? Or whatever. Like, that was odd and dumb. And I don't know. It seemed I don't know. It seems like they had something before that worked and maybe wasn't perfect. And they have, like, tinkered with it in a very negative way. Like having a leaky sink that you sort of tried to fix, and instead of occasionally dripping water, now there's just constantly a stream of water all the time, and your bills are going up.
I think Ernie Johnson was in distress because his alma mater had fired Mark Fox earlier in the day. So I'll give him a pass on that. I agree. I thought this was dumb. When I first heard about this driving back to Fargo Tuesday night, both
I'll pull over on the side of the road by DeSmit and say, "Shit, how do I go on?"
Well, if I was in DeSmit, we would be in. Oh, you were in DeSmit. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you were in for the fights.
Fuck, I was. That would be a ways away. I would have lost my GPS. My GPS would have taken me in a completely different direction. Anyway, I don't like what they did. I thought initially how they were going to do it was just all 68 teams, alphabetical order. So I like that they were going alphabetical with the automatic bids. I think it would have been better for them then to go to commercial and then do the at-larges. But overall, I think you get far more.
Interesting that you're advocating for more commercial breaks to take longer.
I'm just saying, like, if you want the drama and suspense to be there, I think that would be a better way to go than versus just doing it all right away in that first block. But I would much rather have them do it on the bracket show. I think they did this change in part because it was on TBS this year versus CBS. So Turner had some more say in how the selection shows would go. And I think the widespread condemnation and criticism of this will no doubt, I think, make it so that they switch things back to the same as it was last year. However, I thought there was more substance in the 2 hours than the time they did it 2 hours on CBS a couple years ago, and that was awful. So pros and cons, but I would say overall mostly negative.
I don't know. I think, like, I get why you're going to have one commercial break and, like, introduce it first before you get into stuff. But there's ways you can create suspense and drama, like, better than what they're doing. Like, if really all you want to do is create suspense, is just be like, okay, we're cutting to a commercial break. Who's, I don't know, let me look real quick to check something. Who's the 6th seed? Let's see. Who's Houston playing? It's one of these two teams. Whoever it is gets in. The other one didn't make it. We'll tell you after the break. Like, that
sure,
would be
what you
do. But I think that would be better than just being like, all right, we're gonna list off every team in alphabetical order right now.
You can name all the teams, but leave the last 4 in and the last 4 out. Give me all of those together. Say these 8 teams are here, half are in, half are out. Then that's the deal right there. Then go from there if you want to do that. And I expect next year they'll go back to the same format which you unveil the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
That is an ungodly large studio. Unnecessary large crowd, doesn't add anything to it.
Again, I think it's because it was on TBS though this year that changed some of it. Before we go on, I wish we had more people for this, but would you like to do a trivia question?
Yep, we've got the pairings here. We've got again Providence. What do we got here? The Friday tip times apparently. Friday again, Stacking. What do I always say?
Don't pick. Pick Xavier to win at least 2 games.
I say one day is always better than the other.
Yes.
That's what I say. One day is always better than the other. So peruse in the deal.
You do say a lot of stuff. It's very difficult to try and remember everything.
I try to say. Let me see. Friday looks like Fridays or Thursdays strong. I think I prefer Thursday. Let's see what Friday has. Thursday. Thursday's the day. Thursday's the good day.
I think though that you end with arguably two of the best games of the first round on Friday with Florida State, Missouri, and New Mexico State, Clemson.
Good. Who do you think is doing the SDSU game?
Oh boy, I'm going to say Spiro Ditas and company.
your guy, Brian Anderson.
Woo! I like that. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You like that?
I like that.
And,
You like that?
Chris Webber and Brian Anderson.
Good.
What
you know who
channel?
Chris Webber will be rooting for? A Michigan State guy or a Michigan guy calling an Ohio State game.
What channel do you think it's on?
Based on how it goes, I think TBS.
True TV.
TNT.
Ooh, very good. Hey, bro, you're excited about this, aren't you? Come here, bro.
It's going to be on right before Monday Nitro.
Ooh, very good.
The lead into Nitro.
No, it's going to be on right before Thunder is when it's going to be.
Even better.
Brophy, say hi. Nope, never mind.
See this dog here? Where's his dog?
No,
Nope.
yeah, he's right.
Hello, look at this guy. What do you like, pup? You like the, what's the Baltimore County Retrievers?
Oh, I think so, without question.
How great is this dog?
He's left. He's
God damn it. Says,
done with this. All right.
Fuck you, buddy.
All right.
Sure.
All right. Trivia here. It's kind of like, oh, yeah. Let's get more dogs in on this.
Where's the dog? Got a dog in here? Come here.
Come here, dog. Come here, dog.
No.
I think next year I'm gonna have Brophy pick a bracket, as well as Noah.
My dog picks a bracket every year, and by picks a bracket, I mean I have the 1 seeds win the first game, and every other game I just flip a corner.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah, pup.
So, hold on a second.
As promised.
Hold on.
Hold up. Time out. I'm surprised Stacken has not mentioned his Boise State squad yet. Boise State didn't get in. Charlie, if you had to describe the Summit League tournament with one word, what would that word be?
That's a good question. Let's see. Part of me wanted to say electric, but electric's not the right word, and that's too easy. Maybe this would be from a negative aspect. Maybe pedantic, but
pedantic. Stacken, your thoughts on pedantic?
I agree. Shallow and pedantic.
Stacken, if you had to describe the Summit League tournament in one word, what would that word be?
Predictable.
You're both wrong.
I'm trying. What's the word for
mundane?
Above average, but not great.
What word did Stu Whitney come up with?
Alex Smith.
Oh.
2 words. The correct answer was respect.
Oh yeah, that's right. I should have known that.
There's a lot of respect. A lot of respect shown at this tournament.
That's very good.
More so, ain't that right, Brophy? Brophy?
Yeah. Bro, hey.
Yep.
Never mind.
How's the dog reacting to the kid?
Oh, he's jealous, but he's very protective and he loves him. So
we got kiwi strawberry, kiwi lime.
Cherry limeade, man.
Cherry limeade.
It's the drink of champions. I tell you what. All right. So So we've been kind of doing it where you pick a number and you have to give so many, as you have done here. So I have listed every United State. Of course, there's 50 for those that
We're not counting Puerto Rico.
We are not counting Puerto Rico.
Viewers south of the Mason-Dixon, there's 50 states.
So I am going to
Mississippi.
So you are going to pick a number. I'll give you that state. You have to tell me all of the teams that are in the tournament from that state.
And you will not give us the number?
Yep. I have it all down. Should you pick, let's say, I'll give you a freebie, Alaska. Let's say you pick Alaska. I'll say, are there any teams from that state in the NCAA tournament? And you'll say no. Then you pick another number.
No.
So, because otherwise 50.
So your first question will always be, are there any teams from this state?
Correct. And then,
or how many teams are there from this state?
Right, you have to give me all the teams, and then we'll base it on that. So you could theoretically go on like a streak of 10, but there would only be one that last state would be what would count towards your score.
So I think basically this is what we did last year, except instead of picking a state, we're picking a number, and then the number we get, we have to go with. Correct. I like that.
All right. So I have Charlie on my left, Travis on my right. So Charlie, you go first. Pick a number, please.
Lucky number 7.
7. Michigan.
Well, there's not 0. I know there's at least 2. I'm trying to think if there's any more than
Correct.
2.
And then you have to name those schools.
I only know 2, so I'm going to say Michigan and Michigan State. I think there's more, but
nope. You were right.
It's only those 2.
It's only those 2. So you are a perfect.
There are a lot of private schools that make the NCAA tournament that have one-word names that I just don't have the slightest clue where they're from.
Which is going to make this challenging. And then if we get to tiebreakers here, I do have some tiebreakers.
Like I'm pretty sure like Lamar's made it in the past. I only picked them because I don't think they made it this year. You could tell me Lamar is from Colorado, and I'd be like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know where it's from.
They're from Texas.
I know it's not from South Dakota, Iowa, or Nebraska, but aside from that, I don't know.
They are from Texas. Just to let you know. Travis.
Yes. Number 69? Number 3.
Number 3. Maryland.
Shit.
Does Maryland have a team in the tournament?
They have one team in. It's UMBC.
Correct. All right. Charlie.
Well, Corinne said 69. There's not a 69, but I will go half of 69 and say 35. Because 34 and a half, you have to round up, and that's 35.
Very true. Kansas.
Kansas has 3. Kansas State, and Wichita State.
Bada bing.
And Pittsburgh State made it as a 12 team.
Kansas is also one of only 2 states that have a full 100% participation level of all their D1 teams.
That's pretty good.
So,
how many states?
There are 2 states this year that sent the full. I
bet number. The other one is.
I bet North Carolina is the other one. Everyone from North Carolina made it, right?
No, maybe.
Number
1. Maine.
Nobody from goddamn Maine made it.
All right, so just do that there, and okay, you get to guess again.
Number 50.
Utah.
Holy shit. I don't think anybody from that state made it either.
You are correct. Give me another number.
42.
Virginia.
I'll say 2, Virginia and Virginia Tech.
Well, you do have 2. However, you missed a third one. That third team, there will be no stealing because that would just complicate matters more. But you missed Radford out of the Big South.
I was wondering, where in the hell is Radford from?
Would not have guessed. I mean, if you gave me 50 guesses, I could get Virginia. Maybe 30. I don't think I would have got that in 10, though.
Radford, get up.
Maybe this is because I'm dumb sometimes. Rhode Island would have been my first guess because it starts with an R.
Charlie.
I will go 25.
Wisconsin.
I think 0. I'm going 0.
You are correct. No Wisconsin, no Marquette this year.
I will go 32.
Oklahoma.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember like the lower seeds that made it as well off the top of my head. I'm trying to think if anyone else besides Oklahoma made it. And I can't think of anyone else. I'm going just one in Oklahoma.
You are correct. Travis.
12.
New York. There are three states that you can pick that will really help your score. This is one of them.
Really?
46.
New York has 1. They've got 2.
And I appreciate you guys not cheating here. Like
we try.
Actually, once you said what the trivia was, I exited out of all the other tabs on my computer.
Very good. Thank you.
What other bullshit schools are? There's got to be more than 2. I'll say Buffalo and the Qs. That's it.
Well, you do have 2. You missed 3 others, though. So you went 2 of 5 in that one. You missed LIU Brooklyn.
Fuck them.
Iona. And St. Bonaventure.
They're from New York. Where the fuck are they from?
Bonaventure? Yep, St. Bonaventure is...
No idea why. I assumed St. Bonaventure was a West Coast team all these years. I have no idea. Like, I don't even know what conference they're in.
They're in the A10.
A10 strong, boys. A10 strong. Let's go.
If I would have known that, I would have probably guessed they weren't from the West Coast then.
Iona, yeah, and St. Bonaventure, did not know that. Brooklyn, I forgot about.
Oh, I forgot about Syracuse. I couldn't name any. I was glad I didn't get New York.
Right now, score through 3 states each guess. Charlie leads 6-5.
What's his RPI?
He is the perfect 6 for 6. So there will be tiebreaker, like based on the percentage that you get. And so far, Charlie is a perfect 100%.
Neutral road win
Good for an RPI of 11.
Nice.
I think so.
Speaking of that, I will take number 11.
Mississippi.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. I don't think Ole Miss or Mississippi State made it. I'm pretty sure Mississippi Valley State didn't make it. I don't know if Delta State's in Mississippi or not, but they didn't make it. And I am like out of Mississippi schools. I'm going to say 0 for Mississippi.
You are correct. Other Mississippi State D1 eligible schools include Southern Miss, Jackson State, and Alcorn State. None of them.
Disappointed I forgot about Southern Mississippi.
But you get to continue.
I will take 21. Blackjack.
Illinois.
Well, Illinois, I'm assuming, isn't shut out. Let's see. Illinois and Northwestern didn't make it. And I'm trying to think of other. Let's see. I'm going to guess 1, and it's Chicago. I don't know.
I'd accept it.
I will accept this too. You are right. It is Loyola Chicago.
I remember I heard Chicago somewhere looking through it, but I couldn't remember what the other part of it was with it.
Yeah, we will be lenient on this one because I could have said, well, Chicago State didn't make it, and Illinois Chicago, but we will accept it this time.
Very happy to hear Greg Gumbel say that. Very happy.
And they're the only team from Illinois?
They are, yep. So
29.
California.
Oh, fucking a dick. Okay. Fullerton, San Diego State, UCLA. 3.
Don't say St. Bonaventure. They're not from the West Coast.
Bonaventure's not. That's it. 3.
You are correct.
Oh, I would have guessed it was more than 3.
You
but
see, USC should have been there. Got jobbed.
good job, Fresno State.
When's this NIT bracket coming? I want to see USC win the whole deal. We're going to get that Nebraska
USC championship game in Madison Square Garden.
Nebraska USD a 2-7 seed. Tuesday. Let's go.
Isn't USD's coach? I think he used to be an assistant at Nebraska.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry there. So, yes, you were correct there, Corinz. Charlie, you go.
I will go the Deuce, number 2.
Nebraska.
1, Creighton.
Bang from downtown.
You are correct. Travis.
37.
South Carolina.
Nobody.
Mm.
No, Clemson made it. 1. That's it.
Okay, well, we will accept that.
You gave me Chicago. You can give him that.
Yep. I was going to say, like, are you kidding me? You aren't going to get Clemson. You missed the other school, though. That would be Charleston.
Charleston. South
I haven't
Carolina.
had a Do they still make Charleston shoes?
I think
They do.
Maybe I'll have one of those in the next week. I'll eat one of those while Charleston's playing.
Quickly here now, I still haven't drank that Eagles Bud Light can. Do I need to do that once Villanova loses, or just to start the season off next year?
No.
Okay.
I'd do the
Charlie.
I will go number 3.
Number 3 was already taken.
I will go number 4.
Nevada.
Nevada. 1, Nevada.
Correct.
47.
Louisiana.
Nobody?
That would be correct. Guess again.
41.
Nobody from Louisiana.
Nope.
41.
Vermont.
None.
Yeah, that's a fucking shame. Stupid.
This would be it. I knew at some point there was going to be a run of someone picking like 4 or 5 in a row without there being any.
19.
Washington.
1. Gonzaga.
Correct. Oh, wait. Whoa. Reese Davis. You're just talking about Mike Dom? Boom.
Mike Dom, the Aztecs, leading scorer.
All right. Charlie, you are up.
5.
Sorry. There we go. Okay. 5 would be Massachusetts, the spirit of America.
Oof. It seems like there's more small, private, crappy East Coast schools.
Just when I think of Massachusetts and schools in that state, I think of guys being dudes is what I think of.
Well, I'm pretty sure Boston College didn't make it. I don't think UMass made it. I don't know if there's any other. Well, let's see. Harvard didn't make it. So I don't know. There could be some, but I can't think of any. So I'm going to go 0.
You are correct.
Okay.
You can continue.
6.
Well, you're just going right in line here, huh? New Hampshire.
0.
Correct.
Are these in order of when the state joined the goddamn union?
No, because Nebraska was number 2.
Oh, okay. Nebraska was in the second state in the union?
It was not. And Utah wasn't the 50th, so.
Well, shit.
Continue, Charlie.
7.
You guessed 7 already.
49.
Rhode Island.
1. Rhode Island.
Ooh. Well, you will get 1.
The other one.
And there goes your perfect streak. You missed Providence.
Didn't even know Providence was in Rhode Island.
All right.
Is Providence, is that the capital or is it just a city?
It is the capital.
There was a point in time I know all 50 states. I've not known all the capitals since like 6th or 7th grade. I can name like half of them, but I didn't know that one.
32.
That's already been guessed.
33. Scottie Pippen.
Connecticut. Rest in peace, Kevin Ollie.
I don't think anybody made it from old UConn. 0.
That would be correct. Guess again.
44.
Florida.
Florida. Florida made it. Florida State made it. Miami made it. I think those are all Florida schools that made it this year. 3.
You are correct.
The 3 big ones.
Charlie, you really need to hit on a couple of these big ones here. Travis is pulling away.
Barry Sanders, 20.
Alaska.
0.
Good guess.
Does Alaska even have a Division I team?
They do not know.
Man, they need to fix that.
What a goddamn road trip that would be.
They have D1 hockey programs in Fairbanks and Anchorage, but they do not
Home field advantage would be great in Alaska.
That's really where one of the sites should be. Alaska.
Why not? 19.
That's already been guessed.
18.
Idaho.
0.
Correct. Guess again.
Winger, she's only 17.
Alabama.
Which is a terrible song, but okay, Alabama and Auburn both made it. I don't remember seeing like Alabama A&M or anything. So I will say 2 the Iron Bowl teams.
Correct. Travis.
35.
It's been guessed.
36.
Kentucky.
Randy Orton, your new U.S. champ. Who saw it coming? Who saw it coming?
I don't know. Kentucky.
One team, Kentucky.
You missed one other. It's not Louisville. It's Murray State.
Murray.
I didn't know they were in Kentucky.
Charlie.
I will take the lowest remaining number available.
That would be 8, and that's New Jersey.
Oh, man.
Fuck these little states. Fuck them.
Well, let's see. Rutgers didn't make it. I don't know if I could name another school in New Jersey off the top of my head. I guess there's isn't there like the New Jersey Institute of Technology? Either way, I'm pretty sure they didn't make it, so I'm going to say 0.
You missed Seton Hall.
Oh, I didn't know they were in Jersey. Well, good for the Pirates. I'm glad they made it. The only good thing out of New Jersey I like.
Travis.
31.
Colorado.
Nobody?
Correct.
29.
Already been guessed.
28.
Wyoming.
Nobody. 26.
Correct. Arkansas.
1. Arkansas.
Boom. Charlie.
I will take the highest remaining number available.
That would be 48, and that will be Pennsylvania.
Well, Penn made it. I'm going to say 1, Pennsylvania.
There were 3 that made it. Villanova and Bucknell were the others.
Oh, God. How did I forget Villanova? I didn't know Bucknell was in Pennsylvania, but I feel really dumb for not getting Villanova.
23.
Arizona.
2. Arizona State.
Correct. Charlie.
I will take the third lowest remaining number available.
The third lowest.
Missouri.
Missouri.
1, Missouri.
Correct.
The highest remaining.
46 would be Hawaii.
0.
That's
The lowest
correct.
remaining.
Be number 9, and that'd be Minnesota.
Ha! Bruh, 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 bruh. None. This ain't goddamn Division 2.
All right, continue.
16?
North Dakota.
None, because they fucking suck.
You're making the run here.
22?
West Virginia.
1. They go by the name of West Virginia. No, 2. Marshall.
Oh boy, you got it
Ah,
just at the end there, and that is the other state that has sent a full 100% D1 participation to the NCAA tournament. Charlie.
I will take whichever number is Texas.
Give me the biggest prime number.
You can't do that.
I can't do that.
Number 1 is Texas.
How about unlucky number 13?
That's been chosen.
14.
North Carolina. You could get right back in the game.
Okay,
here.
well,
Fucking criminy.
let's see. There's North Carolina. There's Duke. There's North Carolina State. Now I got to think of what smaller schools made it. I don't remember if like UNC Greensboro or Asheville made it. I'm going to randomly guess and say that UNC Asheville made it and say it's those 4.
Oh, if you had just stuck with Greensboro, that would have been
Oh.
great. There were also 2 others in there. NC Central won the MEAC, and Davidson won the A10.
What is the
That's right.
penalty?
I forgot about Davidson.
What is the penalty for naming every school? Let's say you get all of them plus 5 others that aren't in there.
I'll just
South
subtract.
Dakota, USD, Northern, Dakota State, Black Hills,
School of Mines.
School of Mines,
Dakota Wesleyan.
Lake Area Tech,
School of the Blind and Deaf.
Yankton College, Huron College, RIP.
Sioux Falls Roosevelt.
The highest number in the 30s.
Sports Crins Sports. That would be 39, and that would be Tennessee.
Two teams made it. They're named Tennessee and Lipscomb.
Correct. Okay, so this Jehovah's Dragon tried 2 different logins to get in? Good Lord.
Well, he tried, and then I kicked him out, and then he tried again, and I just kicked him out again.
Okay.
Oh, weird dude. Weird dude.
Charlie.
How many are left?
Well, let's see how many got left here. 1, 2, 3. 10 remaining.
10 actual states?
Well, yeah, 10 states. Just 10 in general.
How many have teams?
You can't tell us that because that could potentially.
Well, because I've not given you the number at all, but I would. It looks like 8 of the 10.
No, 2. Okay.
I will take the third lowest one.
Indiana.
Let's see. Purdue made it. I had to work some women's NAIA games, and there were teams from Indiana there, and that's messing me up because I know Indiana East and Indiana Tech and Indiana Wesleyan did not make it because they're NAIA schools. So it's the Indiana State didn't. I'm going to say 1, Purdue.
The Butler did it.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Butler. I do not do – I am so much better at – maybe it's because part of it because there's twice as many basketball as football schools, but I don't remember where so many of those basketball schools are at state-wise.
I don't, and I knew this would be difficult, and I applaud you guys for not looking at any states or anything
41?
like that. 41's been taken.
39.
Has been taken.
40.
Texas.
Son of a beat thing. That was the one I wanted because I could name at least like 5 from there.
Texas Tech. Texas A&M. TCU. Houston. It's 4. Texas Southern's 5. That's all of them.
You got 5 of the 7.
Jesus Christ.
Texas and Stone Cold Stephen F. Austin.
I forgot those two. Fucking
Yep, that's correct.
my heavens.
I think I would have also gotten 5, but 2 of the ones he got, I wouldn't have got.
Charlie.
Number 15.
Montana.
0.
1. Montana.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're like a 13 or a 14 seed. I forgot about them.
14 seed playing Michigan.
The lowest one.
Georgia. Wait, no.
Georgia.
No. The lowest one. Excuse me. New Mexico.
1, New Mexico State.
Correct.
I will take the lowest one, which I'm assuming now is Georgia.
Nope, it's not. It is number 27. That's Iowa.
Well, it's 0 from Iowa.
All right, continue.
The lowest one, which I'm assuming is Georgia.
No, it's Ohio.
Well, let's see. Ohio State made it. God, there had to be more than just Ohio State, though, because there's so many schools in Ohio. Dayton didn't make it. Cincinnati did. So there's Ohio State, Cincinnati, Xavier. I can't think of any else, so I'm going to go with those 3.
Niggy.
Oh, I didn't know Wright State was in Ohio. Again, not surprised. It makes sense. I knew that was roughly that geographic region, but
Niggy.
Travis.
You're 4 of them?
How come Wright State didn't play Wayne State so Nagy could coach against his kid?
Wouldn't that have been awesome?
Put his kid in the game. The highest one.
That would be Georgia.
1, Georgia. What Georgia State made it?
Whoa, did you say Georgia?
I did. Georgia State.
I can't give that to you because you said Georgia.
Oh! Hello.
It was Georgia State. Charlie.
Whatever's highest remaining.
Delaware.
0.
Somebody will
Correct.
pick South Dakota.
Yeah, I think we only have 2 states left here. So
24?
What 2 numbers are left?
34 and 38.
38.
No, Charlie gets it.
Well, I'm taking 34.
Oregon.
Nobody made it from Oregon.
That's correct. So the last one, number 38, is South Dakota.
7. Just kidding. I'll take 1 South Dakota State.
Bing, bing, bing. There you go. I'll tabulate the results here.
What are the chances? That's the last goddamn number. What are the chances? 1 in 50.
Yeah. Would not have guessed that South Dakota was the very last one. Almost like Stacken planned it that way. That's why he was saying Georgia. Oh, wait, just kidding. Because he was secretly trying to make South Dakota the very last one. Stacken, the gamesman, full of showmanship. And it worked. Good job, Stacken. I liked it.
Thank you.
You ran this trivia question very well.
Thank you.
Much, much better than TBS ran their selection show today.
All right, Krins, you got 27 of 36.
My other tournament name, Charlie, was My other tournament name was going to be Kelly Stewart's Dress, but we'll save that for next year.
27 to 36. That's 75%.
Charlie got 22 of 33.
Which is 66%. So he got 3/4 and I got 2/3.
Yep.
Which makes sense because I was a center in basketball, not as good as a free throw shooter. I would imagine Krenz would be more of a wing type player, usually better free throw shooters.
So you guessed there are 19 states that do not have a D1 team this year. Krenz, you guessed 10 of them. Charlie guessed 9 of them.
Well, did Texas have the most teams with 7?
Texas has the most with 7. North Carolina has 6. New York has 5.
There's already been one Twitter account that is called South Dakota State, South Dakota, which should be incorrect because that is not the correct school. First of many. I remember last year was what the Salt Lake Tribune had it on their front page, so their paper, which I think they changed before print, but they had Matt Mooney on the cover because he doesn't play for the team that's playing for the South Dakota team.
That's so right.
So it's very difficult because this only happens to one team in the entire country, and it is South Dakota State. So,
what was the Twitter? Like a Twitter handle or
Land of 10 or some fucking dumb.
Oh, so he just said South Dakota State, South Dakota.
Land of 10. Land of 10. Big 10
place.
Yeah, Big 10 NCAA first round games. Number 5 Ohio State versus number 12 South Dakota.
Good.
Incorrect. The golf stacking was played today. The Woods was second of the golfers. He had the second best score. Did you watch any of the golf?
I did.
Like a lot of people were watching the golf because the Woods was doing good.
I did. I watched a little bit of it. We actually had a meet and greet for Noah today. So my father-in-law likes watching the golf, and so we had that on. And what's that?
Is that the Chiefs fan?
Yes. And so we were watching it, and we were watching Tiger Woods, and it was I'm glad that he's competitive. I think this is showing that he is more than capable of getting an NCAA tournament. I
was going to say give him an at-large.
I would hope he could beat collegiate golfers.
Valdosta State, look out. I think he is going to win a tournament, though, here at some point. As long as he doesn't take a drastic turn for the worst, I think he's going to.
I heard a good story. I heard a good tweet, Charlie. It's that two of the big topics this week was Tiger Woods and Stormy Daniels, and they did not have to do with each other at all. They were two separate stories. That was good.
That's funny. That's clever and accurate.
So that's good. Is there? I've not. Maybe when Jordan left the NBA, but there seems to be a huge gap between Tiger Woods and whoever is the next most popular golfer, whoever that is. It's still probably Phil Mickelson, nearing 50 years old. What does that say anything about current golf, or does that just say that yes, Tiger Woods is he obviously is the greatest of all time, but golf desperately needs him to be relevant here for the next couple of years because they've got Spieth and McIlroy and Justin Thomas and whoever else, and they're all tremendous golfers, and they're going to win a bunch of majors, but nobody cares about them. 42-year-old Tiger Woods trumps all of them.
I generally agree with what you said. I don't know if I'd say that they desperately need Tiger Woods, but certainly golf's better with Tiger Woods. I don't think the NBA was terrible when Jordan retired, but certainly it's we would rather have our guy who was the best ever playing because that's better. And then I don't know, I mentioned it to a couple different places. that I don't. It's odd to me. I mean, like I kind of get it, but like when you think of like the stereotype of like women at concerts like throwing their panties on stage, like Tiger Woods doing well in golf now, like after the surgeries and being out and everything, like the male equivalent of that. It's like, oh my God, did you see that Tiger Woods drive? He's back now. And that the way that so many people like just get so giddy about it. And I should say I get it. Like I generally root against Tiger Woods. It's not like I hate him or anything, but for the same reason, you know, I don't root for the Lakers or the Yankees or Alabama football. I usually root for whoever's playing against Tiger. But I mean, he's playing well, and it's good that he's playing well. Well, hopefully he doesn't, you know, have any back flare-ups or anything, and he can keep going, because it will certainly, you know, if he's within 2 or 3 shots of the lead and on Sunday in the Masters, the ratings and all the hoopla surrounding it will be exponentially higher.
Stacking, if Mr. Woods could win a couple tournaments, maybe be in contention for a major and maybe even win a major the next year or two, does he reclaim his throne as best athlete, most notable, most famous athlete? Whoever, assume that's LeBron James and Tom Brady at the moment. 1, 2 away.
You're saying current?
Yeah. Does Tiger Woods then come back and say, "Yep, I'm the guy, not LeBron, not Tom Brady"?
Woods. I think LeBron would still overtake him, but Tiger would certainly surpass Brady. And just if I may, I think what Charlie, you were saying about like you kind of hate cheering for Woods because he always won.
Cheering for him. It's just that I don't cheer for him.
Sure.
And it's not like I hate or despise him or anything.
Right.
I just root for the other guys because it's underdog and it's more fun than cheering for the favorite.
And has Woods become the underdog now?
I was going to say, in some ways, he sort of kind of has, which is ironic because he was just leaps and bounds better than everybody for a decade.
Tiger Woods is the lone exception to my I always wanted him to win. Normally, you know, I hate cheering for the teams that always win. You know, like
him and Jeff Gordon.
Yeah,
you and Jeff Gordon.
Hey, I like Jeff Gordon too. I always wanted Jeff Gordon to win. So I don't know if it's more like an individual sport.
Roger Federer, Serena Williams.
Okay, so tennis is maybe a little different then because I don't always like it when Serena wins. But I mean, I never liked, you know, when the Yankees or the Lakers would always win, you know, the Cowboys, this and that. But I always want to see Tiger. I always want to see
volleyball.
Yeah, I want to see them win, just like I want to see South Dakota State win the Summit League every year.
Basketball.
Yeah, that's right. Take it home. Anyway, so I do hope he's back though, because I always enjoy watching Tiger, and I hope he's back to form and can be extremely competitive on the tour.
I don't know what his schedule is. I'd assume he's probably going to play one more time before the Masters. Masters in a month from now. One more tournament, maybe 2. I don't know. That'll be fun to watch. Twins signed a pitcher, 1 year, $12 million. Lance Lynn is the guy. So another guy to put in the pitching staff. Pretty strong staff now, 1 through 4, all above average.
Can you explain to me why they signed Anibal Sanchez and then signed Lynn and then released Sanchez? Like, what the hell?
Like a backup plan. I believe they paid him.
Obviously, the negotiations then weren't going great at that point, so they needed an arm.
Anibal needed. If he would have made the team, I think he would have got $1.5 million. I thought I read he got $400,000 for his 2 weeks or whatever. So he was a guy you give a chance to. It was kind of a waste of time. But they apparently offered Lance Lynn 2 years for $20 million. He didn't take that, but he did take 2 for $12. It could be 1 for $12. Could be as much as 14. They got to give up like they got to give up like the 95th pick in the draft, which is fine for him. So
I was gonna say, if he shot down 2 of 20 and then went 2 for $12 million, I'd be like, someone didn't go to school for Mather. He doesn't have a very good accountant.
So they didn't get you Darvish, which they weren't. They were probably the 4th or 5th team down on that list. But they got Logan Morrison. They got Lance Lynn. So they got those guys for cheap. So good moves there. Mike Moustakas went back to the Royals. He had a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. He turned down a 1-year, $17 million deal because he thought he was going to get many years for many millions, and nobody wanted him. So he gets to go back, and he'll do it again next year. So good for him. Gets no money.
Gets no money and has to play for the Royals. That's a shit.
That is a shit. Quarterback, are we expecting something with the quarterback this week? When's free agency start?
Yeah. Well, here's the deal.
When is it?
I think
11th,
I think it's at midnight tonight.
Oh shit! When I wake up tomorrow, Stack, and what's it going to
be? Free agency doesn't officially start now. This is like the early tampering stages. Like teams can start negotiating with agents, but not meeting with players. So, as far as I know, Drew Brees is still not signed a contract.
So Richard Sherman gets cut one day and he can sign the next because he got cut.
I believe that's the case. I mean, it doesn't become official until the 14th, but it's the same thing with like trades and whatnot. I think you're right though. That's how it happened, but Drew Brees still hasn't signed a deal yet.
Wow.
And if I'm the Vikings, I call his agent immediately when the clock strikes 12:01 and say,
"Fuck you, buddy. Go to hell."
What will it take for you to come here? And maybe his agent would just use that as a negotiating standpoint with the Saints. But this deal has not gotten done, and I will take Drew Brees tenfold over Kirk Cousins. Not even like a second thought about it. Let's get it done, Vikings. Let's get it done.
I think there is a 0% chance, Charlie. A 0% chance, meaning no chance. No chance.
No chance of Drew Brees or Kirk Cousins?
Drew Brees.
I don't know if I'd go 0. It's tough to go 0.
Two?
I think it's less than 5.
Yeah, I mean, if they would have had a bad year, then maybe. But they had a good year, and they look to be good, I guess. So, but I heard, Stacking, did you hear? 3 years, $91 million, all guaranteed.
I heard that. It's full of shit.
Does that interest you? Does that interest you?
No, I would back far the hell away from.
You wanted what? You didn't want 5 for 130. You wanted a shorter deal for more money. This is a shorter deal.
Not all guaranteed though.
Well,
I mean, this does absolutely nothing. I've said 4-year, $100 million would be the most that I would go. I would much rather have 4-year 90, but not all of it guaranteed. Don't do that. That's silly.
This is something I've brought up in the past that now we can use a real world example for Kirk Cousins. And again, I don't know if this is legal or not. Like, it's not illegal in terms of the United States government. It might be against NFL rules. Ziggy Wolf owns the Vikings. Obviously, he's like a billionaire who owns other stuff too. I don't know everything else he owns, but what if you only pay him half that and then say, oh, guess what? We're also going to give you a $40 million sponsorship deal with this
company,
with whatever he owns. And it's like, you're also going to do commercials for this restaurant. I don't know.
And it doesn't have to go against the salary cap.
Yeah, for that exact reason. That's what I was going to say. I don't know if that's legal or not. And even if it is illegal, could you then be like, hey,
when you retire,
we're going to do the same thing, except it won't be me specifically, but it'll be this other guy in Minneapolis who owns all this stuff that I made a deal with off the books that he's going to pay you the $40 million sponsorship deal so we can save salary cap money and do other stuff with that too.
Probably.
I would assume there's a rule against it, but I don't know that for a fact.
I like it. Probably, yeah. Seems fishy. I assume they're going to sign a guard of some sorts.
Yeah, I don't know all of the big free agents out there. I do want them though to get this Billy Price from Ohio State in the first round. He may drop to the second. He's the guy who had like tore a pec in workouts at the combine. So if he's projected, he'll be fine by camp. If they can get him in the second round, put him along with Elflein, this is a guy that can play any of the interior positions on the offensive line. I think that would be great. But I guess I don't know where they're going. Quarterback is obviously I don't have any feeling one way or the other towards this team until they nail down the quarterback position. And damn it, they got to go after Brees. Like, I don't know.
Well, they're gonna. I believe by the time the NCAA tournament starts on Thursday with the real games, I believe Kirk Cousins will be signed.
I agree, and it sounds like it's just the bidding war between the Vikings and the Jets, but the Broncos and the Cardinals are still trying to recruit him, or mainly, I guess, players are. It's a convoluted mess. I just, until I see the details of any deal that Kirk Cousins would sign with the Vikings, I'm not going to say I approve of it or anything like that, because I think I'd rather have Case Keenum for far less and then draft a quarterback such as Lamar Jackson or Mason Rudolph than I would have Kirk Cousins at an astronomical contract that will not allow them to re-sign any of their key guys coming up.
And you got their new facility going, so that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Rams traded for some guys. Browns traded for a quarterback.
And a wide receiver, and traded a quarterback for a cornerback. So
traded that for that. So with how ridiculous, why don't more teams do this? You trade 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks for Jarvis Landry and Tyrod Taylor.
I know exactly what you're saying. It seems crazy because now certainly there's occasions where 4th or 5th round picks end up being great, but it is a much larger fail rate than success rate. And I don't think Jarvis Landry's a Hall of Famer, but he's like a borderline Pro Bowl guy. And if you can get that for a 4th or 5th round pick, I don't know why you'd be like why you would even think about that. Like, I would do every year, be like, we're not going to have any 4th or 5th round picks because we're going to trade them for above average starters.
I never understand NFL trades for picks.
It doesn't make any sense because look at what the Browns gave up. They gave up a 3rd round pick in this year's draft to Buffalo for Tyrod Taylor, who I think is a very good quarterback, certainly above average.
Let's put it this way. Tyrod Taylor's probably better than almost any like there might be one quarterback that goes in the 3rd round this year that would be as good as Tyrod Taylor. If there's more than one, almost certainly he will be better than most of them.
Right.
He'll probably there's a good chance he's going to be better than most of the quarterbacks taken in the 1st round too.
Yeah, I mean, and you give up a 4th round draft pick for Jarvis Landry, a guy who he's one of the best wide receivers there in the league, and one of the fastest. Has a lot of catches over the last few years, and then you have to give up a 7th rounder as well to them in next year's draft. Like, those two players are going to be cornerstones of this team's offense, perhaps on offense this year.
Or at least the next 12 games, I think. Or at least the next 12 games.
But they have a foundation that you could say, hey, I have some faith in the Browns offense now. I mean, next to nothing.
Is that it shows that they're serious about moving forward and trying to get better and showing that towards the free agents as opposed to just being no, we're going to be bad for another year or two and try to accumulate more draft picks where, no one ever wants to play for the team that's tanking. But maybe they're probably still not going to
be NIT brackets
here, but there's at least hey, we're picking up pieces. And I don't think it's crazy to say if the Browns, sign a couple guys in free agency and make some smart draft choices, they could be 6-10 or 7-9 and be hey, they look good going forward now.
Right. I think, but this is also all thanks to Sashi Brown, who they fired. This was all, I think, kind of his plan was to build these draft picks up and then be aggressive this year with all the cap space. So they do have to.
USD? USD didn't even make the goddamn NIT.
Are you kidding?
Because SDSU won the because SDSU won the regular season. So yeah, they didn't get an automatic bid. No Summit League team in the NIT.
CIT bound, I guess.
Notre Dame's a 1. USC is a 1. St. Mary's a 1. Baylor a 1. Mississippi State takes on Nebraska. Stack in Vermont takes on Middle Tennessee State.
That's a dandy of a game right there.
LSU plays Louisiana. Boise State plays Washington. Oklahoma State, Florida Gulf Coast. BYU, Stanford. Penn State, Temple.
I think it makes sense because of all the top seeds that didn't win their tournament that didn't get into the NCAA tournament.
Goddamn Hampton's in this fucking thing. Asheville, Boston College, Oregon and Rider, Marquette and Harvard. What the shits?
To go back to the Browns talk, though, I do believe that these moves on Friday also put into play far more the fact that, or the mere possibility that Saquon Barkley goes number 1 overall.
So, yeah, you get Taylor, you get Jarvis Landry, you still have Josh Gordon. You want to add
the other dude from Baylor, who's that, Corey Coleman?
Yep, and there's talk that Terrell Pryor might come back.
So Pryor's very good. You want to add Saquon Barkley to that deal. There's no, like, big wide receiver this year or any other offensive guy. If they want to pick a quarterback, I don't know what there's this.
We'll see.
Going along Stacken's thoughts, I don't know across the board how good the Browns line is. I know they've still got Joe Thomas, but you could go Barkley at 1 and then the Notre Dame guard at 4.
Nelson?
Yeah, Nelson. And then just say, like, hey, either we'll get a quarterback later or we'll get one the following year and maybe still not be good at quarterback, but just upping your talent level across the board.
Could get him or Minkah Fitzpatrick from Alabama. I think that, or if they want to go with a quarterback, they're at 4, certainly in play, or take Fitzpatrick or the guard and then trade back up in the first round for one of the 2 remaining quarterbacks that are going to fall. I think we're going to see 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. For sure 5. I believe there will be a 6th one. I think it'll be Mason Rudolph.
Hot take, I don't like any of the quarterbacks in the draft this year.
Really? Okay.
Rosen, Darnold, Allen, Baker, Mayfield will be picked for sure, like in the top 10.
Lamar Jackson and Mason Rudolph then would be the other 2.
Yeah, those are guys, yeah. They may fall out. Bradley Chubb, defensive end from NC State, is a guy.
Yep.
Who's the guy they picked last year from A&M? Who's good?
The Browns, Myles Garrett.
Oh, Myles Garrett, yeah.
Yeah, Myles Garrett here. Get this Chubb gentleman over here. Those are some guys on the outside.
I'm not going to lie. I think the Browns are going to be a playoff team in no fewer than 3 years if they can hit on these draft picks this year. And
next year, don't they got a bunch of picks next year too?
Not nearly as many as this year, but I think this is a playoff team, considering how Pittsburgh eventually is going to Ben Roethlisberger is going to retire. I don't think Baltimore is going to be lasting around forever, and you never know Cincinnati. I think Cleveland's a playoff team in no fewer than 3 years.
Charlie, would it make sense for Pittsburgh to pick a quarterback at the end of the first round?
Depending on who's available, I think it would. I mean,
Mason Rudolph.
Certainly, I could see Big Ben playing more than just past 2018. I could see him playing 2 or 3 more years, but I don't think any of us would be stunned if he played 1 more year and was done. And I mean, he's still good, but he's not as effective as he was early in his career. And you can just see that he's not, he's getting banged up. And at some point they're going to replace him. And I always like the idea of taking a guy and sitting him for at least 1 year and just being like, hey, you're not the savior who's going to lead us to the promised land in year 1. We're going to at least give you some time to adapt and get ready. And I mean, at Pittsburgh, they're always going to have high expectations for whoever it is. So I think Mason Rudolph or someone like that at the end of the first round, I think it'd be good. I think Lamar Jackson could be good at certain teams. I don't think Lamar Jackson would do well at Pittsburgh.
You also have the Patriots and the Saints with old quarterbacks. Might could probably get a quarterback. So, Summer League tournaments. Good time.
I was just going to say that the Browns then traded defensive tackle Danny Shelton to the Patriots on Saturday, recouping another pick. It's just the trade bonanza.
What was the thing about it? The Browns have like 2 or 3 guys from their like 2015 drafts even on the roster yet. Or some ridiculous number.
It wouldn't shock me. And also the Bills now have 2 picks in each of the first 3 rounds.
Wow.
Also, Corinz, you mentioned the Saints and then a quarterback you mentioned earlier. Would anything be more fitting than the Saints getting Baker Mayfield and sitting him for like 1 year and then just being like, all right, we're going to do the same thing for another 12 years now?
Little guy throwing the ball, running around. Did
anyone hear Ernie Johnson say the Buffalo Bills today? It certainly sounded like Buffalo Bills. It didn't sound like Buffalo Bulls.
It was so bad I thought the Summer League PA guy was doing it. At the end of this tournament, he goes on the mic and he says, South Dakota State, Summer League champs. You can watch the selection show Sunday on CBS. That's incorrect. It wasn't on CBS.
At 16 locations.
Incorrect. There's only 8. There's only 8. Very poorly, whether it's him or whoever put that together. Got to do better than that. Stacking, game-wise, I thought this was the worst Summer League tournament I've witnessed as far as games on the court. Neither championship game was all that competitive. The double overtime game was pretty good. There was a women's game that was decent.
Was that Denver Oral Roberts?
Usually you can count on the South Dakota State schools to play one classic game. Men, I think that probably didn't happen.
The men probably, that counts in their first game against Western Illinois.
Yeah, that was a damn dogfight, piss ball matchup. The championship game was fun to watch. It was a lot of points, but it was not competitive. It was competitive enough to where, they get within 6. They only got 6.
Yep.
So I thought it was the worst tournament I've seen as far as
also those 2 men's games on Sundays ended up being close, but for long stretches weren't competitive and were boring. And then it was 11 minutes left, and it's I guess it's 11. Maybe it's starting to get close now.
Yeah, and you're welcome, Charlie, again for making those close.
Like I said at the time, I appreciated that you did that with both. You went a little too far in on the second one, though, making it go to double overtime.
You can blame the guy that I was spotting with on that game. I mean, he was like, "Oh, we're going overtime." I'm like, "No, we don't. Let's get the hell out of here at 10:20. It's only going to be 11 o'clock now before we vamos."
You were on camera there. You got your 30 seconds in.
Always get it. You know what? I went like this. People thought I was praying. It was a double thumbs up is what it was supposed to be, but I cannot be like, hey, thumbs up. I'm not going to be that guy. And they're in a professional capacity. So I was going like this to give a thumbs up. But yeah, I'm not going to smile. I did mouth hi, Mom, hi, Kelsey, hi, Noah. But otherwise, got to keep things cool, calm, and collected. And obviously, I think we're going to make this a Summit League tradition here now. Championship Tuesday. Stacking's going to be on ESPN2, sitting right behind Clay Matvick and Sean Harrington.
Charlie, how much do you think a 30-second commercial would cost on a Tuesday night on ESPN2 for the Summer League tournament?
I'm going to guess $750,000.
Stacking?
I will say $250,000.
Oh, it's like $100.
Huh?
How would you take the money, or would you take your camera time?
Oh,
let's say it's like $5,000 or $10,000.
Well,
say it's 5,000.
Well, here's
wait. I get 30 seconds of camera time, or I get $5,000. I take the 5,000.
You would. Stacking on the other hand, I don't know.
Well, it depends on if I'm like, if I have my blog and the
whatever the fuck you want,
and if I have.
I was gonna say if it's like they turn around and they're like, "Hey, let's talk to this person for 30 seconds," and they're interviewing you, then I might take that. But
I would say I'd probably take the money. But if I can generate some traffic and get noticed with the blog and the podcast, then I might consider that. But the monetary value of that would have to be substantially more than $5,000.
What the hell's the What on Browns? Hooked on Browns? What is it?
Locked on Browns podcast.
What the hell's that?
It's Jeff Lloyd the second.
Locked on Browns, like what?
Like we're really just
locked on them.
We're focused. Yeah, we're focused on the Browns, the draft picks, anything that the Browns do, because the Browns are a fascinating franchise with all of their draft capital.
I got that. Any other Summit League thoughts? I thought Sunday night, I enjoyed all of that. With the one guy banking threes off from the corner.
Joe Rosga.
Yelling shit at him all night. That was good.
Remember when he missed those 2 free throw shots?
When it clears out on Sunday and there's like 1,000 people there and you can be heard, it's a grand old time. Any behind the scene things that we didn't get to?
Food? I mean, food was excellent. Pita Pit, outstanding.
The worst weather we've ever seen in a tournament on Sunday night into Monday.
I mean, this was great for the city of Sioux Falls, getting all that extra boost to the local economy. It's funny because when the announcement came on, of course, tip-off has not started yet. They're like, Interstate 29 will be closing from the North Dakota border to the Iowa border at 6:30 p.m. And no one left. Like, okay, well, we're stuck in Sioux Falls. I mean, enough people either were probably in Sioux Falls or like live in Sioux Falls or know people, or it's gonna be like, hey, I was going to the championship game on Tuesday anyway, so I'll stay a little bit longer. But
was there 60,000 people again?
I didn't get the official tally. There was 11,114 for the men's game. That's a record, and 8,400, I believe, for the women's.
Like 87. The women's attendance was, I thought that was stellar.
Yes.
Almost 9,000 people on a Tuesday afternoon to watch a women's basketball game.
I guarantee you there was no other tournament that had that.
I'm going to go through the numbers this week and see where that stacks up, even on the men's side.
The one thing, and I didn't hear this entirely, and I maybe mentioned it to you as we were walking on the court after the men won, but Clay Matvick was talking about this game and the atmosphere. Oh, South Dakota State won, and I heard only like a snippet of it, and it sounded like he was just saying, well, is this tournament, it's great that you have these crowds and everything, but if South Dakota and South Dakota State are going to constantly win or be in this here, what does that do to the overall conference? And like, you know what?
It makes a lot more money than it would have otherwise. That's what it does.
And it's not like SDSU and USD have been staples in this tournament and have like dominated year in and year out. It's all factoring into recruiting. And like SDSU, the first couple of years when the tournament was in Sioux Falls, they sucked. They didn't win a tournament here like the first 4 years.
The top 2 seeds made it this year.
It helps when you have Nate Wolters and Mike Dahm. There's no other way around it for SDSU. Like if they didn't have Mike Dahm, yeah, they might not have made it to the championship game this year. Might not have gotten David Jenkins. It all factors in back to recruiting, and SDSU puts money into their program. USD is putting money into their program. Maybe schools like NDSU, Omaha, Fort Wayne, Western Illinois, maybe they need to up their game if they want to compete with the best. I think that's it to me saying, oh, it's unfair, it's a competitive disadvantage. It's not. They moved it there. You can look at it and say, oh, like Oral Roberts hosted the tournament the year before it came to Sioux Falls. Look at the attendance. No one gave a shit about, Oral Roberts in there. I mean, it's all about the teams that you have, and give South Dakota people credit. They come out and they support their basketball, and they like their basketball, which is more than I could say for a lot of other schools or states around the country.
Mostly I agree, Stackin. I would say it is a competitive advantage for the South Dakota schools.
Agreed.
But I think you're better off doing that than saying, oh, let's play in Des Moines and then having almost every game except 2 of them with we had 640 people in attendance because nobody's close to here.
I don't know if Charlie's heard this, but we did see Blake Day on Monday night?
Yes. And Tuesday.
And Tuesday we got Respect.
What's Blake up to?
Making money and going places.
Schmoozing and getting people to donate their hard-earned dollars to the university.
Respect was shown.
Yeah.
Respect was shown there. So
big hands were shown.
Stackin had $9 beers at a place at 2 of them.
$9 beers, Stackin?
Yeah, I should have just stuck with the
expensive date.
I didn't know that JL Beers had $8.25 beers, for something like this tall. A little ridiculous. They were good, but not $9 worth.
No, it was not. Tournament done and gone. We'll do it again next year. The tournament number 11. There we go.
Yep.
Anything else?
I think we pretty much covered it. Let the madness begin, gentlemen.
Let it begin Tuesday. St. Bonaventure plays Tuesday.
Yeah, and LIU and Radford. Is that correct?
Ooh, and then Arizona State they plays on Wednesday.
Yes. And the Qs.
And the Qs. Give me the Qs. Doing multiple games. Lounge 244. Probably be back next week. We'll talk tournament and everything else. Nathan Stackin, Charlie Hildebrand, and the respect was given. The respect